There's no doubt. I mean, you live and die by the polls when you're in politics, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
And they do their own internals, and it's true. Hey, if it could get this low after 2 years, it can climb back up within 2 years. This doesn't necessarily, mean something, but it bodes terribly. As you said, it's a trend. This isn't an outlier. This isn't a spike. It just continues to drift down. And as you said, it's one scandal or problem or misstep after another. Chris, what do you see as standing out? I mean, it is a cumulative problem that's going on, but it does seem to be accelerating lately too. What is it that's causing a more recent loss in confidence and support for the Liberals in your view?
We can go to actually another poll that we had last week about young voters, voters in their 20s, between 20 and 29. Predominantly, they were, Liberal supporters, and it has just been, once again, a downward trend. So just from the beginning of August to the last week of August, they went from 26% support with people in their 20s all the way down to 16% in 1 month. And voters, those young Liberal voters, have been going both directions. The NDP has about 31% support now in people in their 20s. But here's an astounding number. The Conservatives are only almost at 40%. They're at 39.7%, I believe it was in the poll, support among voters in their 20s. And I think it's because Pierre has been hammering on affordability issues, and that is playing well with them because, their incomes are lower than people in their 40s and 50s. So things are hitting them harder, and they're trying to get in the housing market, and they can't because we're just not building enough houses for the amount of people that we're bringing into the country and that are already here. We have been not building enough for a long, long time. And it's a cumulative effect. And I honestly think it's going to the grocery store and the dream of buying a home is making a lot of voters in their 20s really disillusioned with the Liberal Party, particularly the one led by Justin Trudeau. I don't think they feel that they can relate to him in any way, shape, or form presently.
Yeah, and that's got to be making them sweat when a key component of your base support is losing. Again, they're not losing support, or further among people who are already strong conservative demographics. It's the youth that should make them sweat. That was their stronghold. And I'm well past my 20s, but I remember it well. And you're full of ideals at that age, and that's where you could vote based on those. But your wallet tends to be pretty empty. In my 20s, times were tight. You got the young kids in the house. You're still building up your fortune, whatever it may be, furniture and paying off a car and so on. You're very sensitive to cost of living issues, and you often don't necessarily have a big buffer to get you through spikes or times when it's going high. So, they're not feeling, I think, that the Trudeau government can turn this around. I think that's part of what's really changing that for the youth right now.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And, the question that raises is, will the old Liberal tactics work? In past elections, they have trotted out the purple dinosaur arguments. You know what I'm talking about.
I remember it well, yes.
Okay. And they would love to be able to say that the conservative leader is, he's a closet pro-life advocate, and that gay marriage will be under attack if he's elected prime minister. Well, Pierre Poilievre, not the social conservatives like him for this, but Pierre Poilievre has made it very clear that he is pro-choice. He went out and actually said he is. He didn't kind of beat around the bush and say, well, I personally am pro-life, but I wouldn't legislate, which is what conservative leaders tend to say. He said he's pro-choice. Well, there goes that issue. You're not going to be able to run a campaign of innuendo based on that. So what about other aspects of social conservatism? Well, he has a very diverse caucus. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And again, if the Liberals try to make that an issue, he can just put certain people on center stage, and they don't have to say whether what particular aspect of diversity they represent. Everybody knows what they stand for. So there goes that. So you know, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and claim he's actually a Russian agent? You know, it worked on Trump, I guess, but you know, could it work on Pierre Pulliver? Where do these people go?